Hey guys, welcome to part 4 of Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. Still practicing that. I'm going to try not to spit in this episode, but we'll see. I can't make any promises. So this book, I've given a little bit of an overview, is Neale talking to God via pen pal style, back and forth writing. And so far we have had some amazing, beautiful insights, and I want to share with you guys another one that really just sucker punched me, okay? And I'm going to put a link to the book in the description so you can buy it or get it from the library. I don't care, but support the book, okay? Don't just wait for me to tell you the good parts, okay? So, this is God talking. You have projected the role of parent onto God and have thus come up with a God who judges and rewards or punishes based on how good he feels about what you've been up to. But this is a simplistic view of God based on your mythology. It has nothing to do with who I am. Having thus created an entire thought system about God based on human experience rather than spiritual truths, you then create an entire reality around love. It is fear-based reality rooted in the idea of a fearful, vengeful God. Its sponsoring thought is wrong, but to deny that thought would be to disrupt your whole theology. And though the new theology, which would replace it, would truly be your salvation, you cannot accept it because the idea of God, who is not to be feared, who will not judge, and who will not cause to punish, is simply too magnificent to embrace within even your grandest notion of who and what God is. Whew, that was a fucking run-on sentence if I ever heard one, God. But I want to talk about it because I feel like this way of thinking, this line of thinking, has been what people have used to create immense atrocities. If there is no God, no judgment, like we're all just winging it here, living a life, and there is no value system in terms of right, wrong, good, bad. Like if there is none, then what's the point of being good? Like, if I could just unalive somebody and there be no spiritual repercussion because God does not care, or not that God doesn't care, but God does not judge, then why shouldn't I? Now, I'm not saying go out and do that, because for me, I do believe there is a spiritual repercussion that happens if you do something like that. I do believe, so this is one of the places where I'm like, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but I do believe in a sense that your spirit and your communion with God either becomes closer or further away with the actions that you take. And the further away that you are, the more painful it is, thereby creating hell on earth. Whereas certain actions will bring you closer to God. Now, we've been given free will to be able to choose, hey, do I want to take the step towards God or do I want to take the step away from God? Again, so God doesn't judge what you do, but there is a very real spiritual repercussion that happens. And even if God doesn't judge, there is still pain that happens when you don't choose right. And so, do we really have free will? Do we really have a choice? If our only choice is pain or happiness, then is that really a choice at all? Now, one could argue that what I would deem as painful, someone else might deem as pleasure. Maybe those psychopaths who go on unaliving sprees, they don't feel any remorse, they don't feel pain, they don't feel apart from God anymore. Maybe they feel closer to God because of it. And then there is hey, what are the circumstances that this is? Because maybe you have to do something in self-defense. Like, will that move me spiritually away from God, but I don't feel the pain? Or, this sort of rhetoric just really sends me into people could use this to really highlight the negative aspect of this planet. And that is, is there really judgment? Is there really no hell or heaven? Okay, so if there's not, what is the moral code that you live by? And it doesn't have to be about punishing or not punishing, but if there is no repercussion for doing something bad, then what's to stop you from ever doing something bad? I feel like there is, because you feel bad. You feel bad, like emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, financially. You do something bad, and okay, so we know what I feel. But then you also have the thoughts of, okay, why do bad things happen to good people? And why do good things happen to bad people, right? What is the underlying current of when something good should happen to you versus when something bad should happen to you? Should it happen to you? I don't fucking know. Point is that what is determining these things? And so I think the word judge here is what's getting me. It's like, so judging implies that some higher entity has deemed good or bad. And to me, that is judgment. Hey, I unalive someone, I feel bad. It's been deemed as bad because I feel the disturbance in the force, okay? I feel it in my body, I feel it in my bones, I feel it in my spirit. So, but who determined that that's what felt bad? Was it because I was conditioned? Was it because God? Was it because someone told me and I just believed it one day? I don't know. But I think a lot of people would take what I read and use that as a way to justify doing bad things. And that, I think, is really dangerous. I think that that is super dangerous. You know, that there is no right or wrong, no good or bad. There just is what it is. And I don't know, I can't comprehend, like, if that feeling that you have that something is good or something is bad is not God, then what is that? Where do we get that from? And I don't know. That word just fucked me all up. Because the other part that he talks about is that we've adopted it as like a parent. Because when you read the book, he's talking about, you know, when you're a baby, the first God that you really truly experience is your parents, because you can't move, you can't fend for yourself, you can't even see anything. You're just in this planet, like at the mercy of these two people, even if you have the two people or whatever, or the nurses or whoever it is that has like adopted you. And you have this like entity, okay, I'm hungry, I cry, okay, this person has been giving to me the sustenance I needed, okay? Like, I have soiled myself. Oh my God, this person has given me the gift of cleanliness, okay? This person has given me the gift of warmth. This person has given me the gift of comfort. This person has given me the gift. So the idea of God is like this entity that is giving you things, right? And I said I wasn't going to spit, but obviously that's not a fucking thing. So it gives you things, or it doesn't, right? Because you have the parents who have neglect, you have the parents who hit, you have the parents who abuse, you have the parents, and this is your first concept and exposure to having to rely on something outside of yourself to give you what you need. And so this idea that we've attached God as like our parents just also freaking blew my mind, because it just knocked into place a whole bunch of things that I believed about God that were like, you know, I have to beg and plead and cajole because I felt like that as a child. You know, I have immigrant parents who worked insane amount of hours and like never felt heard, never felt cared for, but because they were caring for me from afar, doing what they had to do to make money to provide a home and food. And so I learned that for God, it was very much like have to beg, plead, cajole, wait for what feels like an eternity for things to happen to me, for my needs to be met. And that's not true. That's not true at all. But that's just what I had imprinted in my brain. So, That was a heavy one for me. That was really a heavy one for me because it just like, I want to believe my way is the right way, but maybe I am full of crap, guys. I don't know. But read the book. I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm going to put a link to my book, Writing for My Life, which is about journaling, techniques on how to journaling, because journaling, prayer, meditation have all been crucial to my psychological, spiritual evolution. And I'm also going to put a link to my podcast. I hope you guys listen to me over there. Love you guys. Bye.